Hi everybody, my name's Les Frischman. This is my 2009 Toyota Sienna. This has roughly 210,000 miles on it. It's been a great vehicle. As you can see, I added about a 2-foot extension on top of it. This is actually a box that's about 3 feet wide and 6 feet long, and it gives you about a 6-foot height on the inside. I ended up building this, and the stuff that I used actually came from Lowe's. This is metal framing that you would see in regular construction. It's actually a U-shaped, it's not the square pieces. And then it's double riveted onto the plywood. So this is just 1/4-inch plywood. It's got 1 inch of fiberglass insulation. And then on the inside, it's got 1/8 inch Coroplast. And I chose Coroplast this time because I was really curious. I think Coroplast is a phenomenal material that's underutilized. It's an excellent insulator. It's very easy to clean because it's non-porous, and it doesn't take much to wipe it down, and it really brightens up the space because it's bright white. I ordered 3 100-watt Renogy solar panels, added those to the roof, so now that covers up, and then it has a gap up there for airflow and a place for water to get off. So it's got about 6 coats of Flex Seal rolled on there just to make sure that we don't have any water leaks. The trimming is actually made from rain gutters. We already know that it can handle the UV radiation, so went ahead and just got square pieces of that.
And how much do you think that whole thing cost you to put up?
That whole thing, I am guessing maybe under 300 bucks. What we also ended up doing was taking the back of the van, which you can see here. This has a metal framework that is attached that once I get to a location is actually connected and screwed in, and this is locked in place.
That's the hatchback, right?
Yes. So the back of it is actually up. So we can see there's this 1x2 steel frame structure. And I pulled this out of scrap. I heated it up with a torch to get it to bend the way that I wanted it to. It actually sits on the bumper. So it's not connected to the bumper. It actually relaxes on the bumper. And then it is actually lock nutted into the side. So these are 3D printed handles. It has a bolt that goes into it and a compression nut into the trunk area. So that's how it's actually attached. Underneath the bed is wood planks. So right now I'm using 3/4-inch plywood. So these assemble, and you can see the cuts so that it makes it easy for storage. And then that gives us an additional 2 feet. So that allows us to take the entire bed section and move it out of the van and move it to the back so that we open that floor space back up. And the other thing that I did here, let's raise this up. These are drawer slides. So these actually slide out back inside, and they rest on a cross support beam, which is also locked in place. And then that gives us the weight support. Okay, so now we're facing forward towards the van. You can see we've got the angled front. And first thing you notice is the microwave up here. This is a Galanz. It's called a Galanz. It's about a $150 microwave because it's not just a microwave, it's also a convection oven. It's got an air fryer. So also for cooking, I've got this guy right here, which I purchased one of these off of Amazon. And this has a non-stick surface, and you just plug it directly into the outlet. And it's got a little switch on top, and it switches between 150 to 600 watts. You can boil water in this, and because of the non-stick, don't have problems with noodles and things like that really sticking to it. I really like this. I think this is a great investment. The outside of it doesn't get hot. This is my favorite cooking utensil. This is a NuWave induction cooktop. I have a rubber top on top of it so that my pots don't slide off. Because one of the things that happens is this uses a high frequency magnetic field, and sometimes your pots will start to slide on that field a little bit and they'll dance off. So by putting a rubber surface on there, that completely prevents that. The reason I like this one, this NuWave, because it has a feature that is ideal for van lifers and campers. It has a wattage setting. You can set it at 600 watts, 900 watts, or 13. I strictly only use the 600 watt setting. I can still boil water, I can cook eggs, and it works fantastic. I'm very happy with this. The other nice thing that's great about cooking with induction is you're not heating up your whole space. If you use gas is only about 40% efficient. So a lot of that flamage is doing nothing but heating up the space around you. Once you switch over to induction, it's hooking up just the pot.
And what surface do you cook on then?
So where I cook at is I can actually use this tabletop. You see there's a 3D printed bar that comes out. This actually has a fiberglass pull inside of it, so I created this hinge. And this drops down, and now I have an additional cooking surface that I can actually use. This is very strong, so I don't have any problems with that. Right here, you notice there's a vinyl tubing. This is actually connected to a USB rechargeable water pump. And I have a 6-gallon water tank hidden behind the refrigerator that I can take out and refill inside a Walmart like that. That's specifically just for drinking and consumable water products. Okay, so finally, I have this last table right here, this shelf. But the problem is if I take off and start driving, all my stuff's going to fall over. So what I did is I actually connected to 80/20 and added hinges, and now the whole thing slides up, locks into the wall, and anything I have back here stays put. Nothing falls onto the floor. The first thing you notice is I modified the seats. So I had to re-weld the framing and add a swivel plate to it so that we could actually turn the seats around backwards. You want to be able to utilize the space. Now I just need a table. So I could either purchase a very expensive manufactured brand, or I can come up with something on my own. So what I did is I actually came up just a piece of pine wood is all it is. This is gas tubing. I 3D printed the parts, and then I made my own 3D mount. Now this guy right here, actually to lock it, you'll actually hear it pop. Because the hole on the outside is just a little bit smaller, so I want it to clip into place. And then the threads, one of the things I recommend is if you ever make your own, make one pole really short, because you can buy different size extensions so that you can fine tune it to just the right length that you want. So that you can get 6-inch extensions, or you can get them all the way down to 1-inch extensions, so that you can really measure at what height works for you. Because you're just guessing when you first do it, you just don't know. And then just mount the bottom of it, the thread in into the bottom of the tabletop, and now you've actually got something to eat and use your computer and everything else on. Okay, so one of the things that's important to me is a big fridge. I've tried the smaller 12-volt refrigerators. I don't like digging through food. I wanted a separate freezer and a separate refrigerator. So this is a 110 fridge. It is about the biggest mini fridge you can possibly get that I felt like I could fit in here, and it goes above the headrest of the driver's seat. So this is a nice size fridge. It pulls about 6 amps to run it when it comes on. You never hear it. My concern was if the compressor was going to hold up to all the vibrations, but I've had it in here for over 2 years and I've not had any problems with it so far at all.
You say it's running off of 110, and you'd mentioned 300 watts of solar on top. What is your battery system and inverter system?
Okay, so I have 3 100 amp Battleborn lithium ion batteries. I have a 50 amp DC to DC charger that I've got plugged into my alternator, and I've actually got a welding cable that runs through the frame back to the charge controller. I've got a Renogy, well, that same 50 amp also has a solar MPPT charger controller in it too. So one of the things that I've added is I went ahead and added a fuse switch to it. It's kind of like the speaker fuse. It's resettable. And when I'm driving on a long trip, I'll actually pop that. So I disconnect the solar, because one of the defects that I think is in the programming is when it sees 2 different charging sources, it splits it. Well, solar doesn't produce anything close to what the alternator does. So I don't want to limit what I'm getting from the alternator. So I'll just disconnect the solar completely until I get somewhere to set up. Okay, so you notice on the walls, this is the Coroplast material, and it's over fiberglass insulation. I have not wrapped this on purpose, and the reason for that is because I want to be able to put my finger inside of there. If there's any water leakage, I'll be able to feel it. I want to feel it long before I start to smell it. So that way there I can determine whether I got a problem or not. But it's pretty much uncovered all the way around. And this black material right here, this is what keeps you from touching the metal and getting cut. This is actually roof flashing. So, but once it's on there, it ain't coming off. Roof flashing, once it's glued, it's a permanent product. That's one of the things I have to be aware of. So one of the other things I've done is my company, the one I created, we actually create swamp coolers. And here's one that's permanently mounted back here. These aren't originally intended to be permanently mounted. This one's mounted so that we can see what the elements do to it, so we can find out what the weak parts are. We 3D print all the components and then build the electrical boxes. And this has a 12-volt radiator fan on top. So it moves about 1,750 cubic feet of air, blows it through a cooling mat, has 3 spray jets that spray up into that, and then they drip down into a secondary mat. So instead of making it bigger, we're making air go through more stages. So it's a multi-stage cooling system. And then it has a water pump So it'll hold about 4 gallons. You can hear the water coming on, starting to spray. And it's got a clear vent inside, so you can actually see the water starting to splash against the vent. And then it has a fan control. So as I turn the knob, I can adjust how much power I want to give this. And then it will start to blow. And you can feel the air all the way up on the other side. I can already see the bread loaf and everything else starting to move from the airflow. And this is fantastic because if I'm out in the desert, someplace like this does a couple of things. First one that's obvious is it cools it down, so from the evaporation. Second one, it adds moisture. The other thing is it's sucking the dirt particles out. So as it's washing the air as it goes through those pads. So what you're getting here is cleaner, better quality air. I've tried different water heating systems and I finally ended up creating my own, and this is what we're using now, and so far it's worked out really well. This is a 1 gallon thermos container, so it's vacuum insulated. What I've done is I've actually designed the circuitry, the programming and everything else to make this work. So this plugs into a cigarette lighter adapter. It has a digital display on top. You set the temperature. Now it's at 107. Next it'll come up and it'll tell me how long. It's going to take 20 minutes to reach that temperature. So it also gives me an ETA of when it's going to reach. The other nice thing that's really awesome about this is I can set how much power I want it to draw. This is a 100 watt heating element, but I can set it at 25%, 50%, 75%, or I can turn it at full power.
How do you use that in your rig here?
So I have a shower pod that's inflatable. We're using a positive pressure shower pod, something else that we've come up with for small environments. Wanted something that didn't require poles, ropes, or anything like that. So the way the pod works is you stand inside of it, you zip it up, it self-inflates around you. So it's got a floor and a ceiling. And as you wash, you take the water heater inside with you, you do your washing, all the water stays in the bottom of the pod. And then you suck it up and you put it into a container. And then when you're done with it, you come out of it, you dry it out, you roll it up, you put it in your silverware drawer or something like that. And it takes up, like I said, absolutely no space. Okay, and then underneath this shelf right here, we have the loo. So that is a collapsible toilet, works fantastic. This is a nice place to keep it out of the way. And we're not tripping over it.
Les, thank you so much for giving us a tour of your heavily modified Toyota Sienna. The thing is super cool, a lot of cool modifications to it. So thank you very much.
Well, thank you for coming out and taking a look at it. And hopefully some of your viewers who actually see this, it'll help inspire them to take their camping experience to the next level and see what they can do with their rigs and see what they can come up with.
You know, and you, speaking of something coming up with, you came up with a lot of cool modifications that you guys are actually selling. So how can we find out more about your products and things like that?
Actually, if you go to our website, it's easy. It's chill, CHILL.com, and you can click on our products link. And these are items that I have created myself and designed. I have been a lifelong camper all of my life, and these are items that I have found to help improve the quality of me going out there and actually enjoying the camping experience. Please go out there, take a look. We're always open to suggestions and how to make our stuff better, and we will hope that it improves people's lives.
Well, it's much appreciated. Folks out there, what was your favorite part about his unique build? Please let us know in the comments below. If you got anything out of today's video, please give us a big thumbs up, share it with friends, subscribe to the channel. Until next time, we'll see you down the road. Bye, guys.
Thanks, bye.